Welcome to my channel. Welcome to July's backyard garden tour. So I want to bring you along and show you everything that is blooming in July. So my husband and I transformed this entire backyard that used to be fully lawn 2 years ago into a garden. This year I decided I wanted this garden to be a cottage garden. I love it. I love it. I love what has come of it. Started everything from seed through winter sowing or using the seed trays indoors with some grow lights. The only exception were my zinnias, which are right here, and I planted those directly in the ground. Seeds, put them in the ground, prepped the soil, planted them, voila, here we have them. So I am excited to share July with you. Everything is blooming. I did want to tell you about something that I have not shared on YouTube. So on July 1st, it was a gorgeous day. I was getting ready to film a look how gorgeous my garden is for my mom, actually. And all of a sudden, my husband and I had just washed our cars. There was no rain in the forecast, as it always happens, right? And it's no secret, you know, if you're new here, by the way, I'm Kim, North Carolina, Zone 7B. We have a creek, like a small creek that runs behind our house back in the woods. All of a sudden, here comes the rain, here comes the thunder, here comes the flood. Literally, I had lakefront property, their backyard completely underwater. My garden, underwater. Let me show you a video. Is that not the craziest thing ever? Well, I had minimal damage, thank you Jesus, and it just kind of did a little bit more damage in the way the water was rushing so fast that it like knocked things over. So I've kind of cleaned it out, but I am going to show you everything. And I got up early so that we could see the garden without the sun, and we were racing against time. So I'm gonna go ahead, show you the garden, talk about all the things, and then yay, I'm gonna cut some flowers, not on this video, but I'm gonna give some bouquets away. Okay, let's get started. I have to give you the obligatory walk to the garden gate, open the garden gate, and the angels sing. Ah. Gorgeous, right? Not my voice, I get it. Okay, so let's begin right here on the left. This is my zinnias that I had just told you I direct seeded. They are a variety of zinnias from, we have dwarf, we have early bird, we have, oh gosh, everything in between, and gorgeous. I mean, I cannot get enough of these. I do need to come in here and cut some so that we have some more grow. I do have some powdery mildew that is not so good, but I generally don't spray in this garden because of all of the birds, butterflies, bees, hummingbirds, that type thing. So if any of you know of anything that can be done naturally, let me know. Over here, so pretty. It's so pretty. So I realize we have a lot of weeds, but hey, they blend in and they look nice. We're gonna go with it, okay? Along the front, we have our dahlias, and we have so many bees snoozing in the garden this morning. How fun is this? Like, they take little naps. I think if I were a bee, I would want to take a nap on a flower too. Zinnias, I saw a big one. Look at that. He is snoozing. So in this garden bed, we have a mixture of everything, but only flowers. No vegetables or herbs or fruit in this bed. So we have dahlias all along the front. We have our newly planted zinnias. These I planted maybe 4 weeks ago when I noticed the front of the greenhouse was looking kind of bare. We have our bee balm lambada. Do a little shimmy. They needed to be staked. I haven't staked them. Hopefully I'll stake them before the August garden tour. I do have some status. It's petered out, so I do need to do some deadheading in this garden, but let's use our imaginations. It looked like this, and it had a lot of the pink with yellow. So dahlias, we have some feverfew, which is this right here, some gomphrena, and then black-eyed Susans, cosmos in the back, a massive weed, and then this is yarrow that came from last year's garden. I guess I could cut it back, deadhead it for sure, cut it back. So I do plan on getting in here. I just have been crazy busy. I got a big project going on, which is no excuse, I understand, but it's real life. So these, I thought this was an amazing specimen that I had planted of daisies. Well, it is a form of daisy, but it's an invasive weed. So yay me. It was all in here and I cleaned it out. Over here, not so much. I haven't gotten there yet. That's okay. There's time. Oh, look. We have another bee snoozing on the dill. And in this bed right here, I cleaned out, I pulled out some of the roses. It looked super bad. And I decided that I'm probably going to pull out all of the roses just because they've struggled so much. I can't do a spray program in here, or I won't do a spray program. So what I did is planted coleus along the back, which I think is so beautiful. I've left the flowers because the bees really, really love them. And I just can't take away a source for the bees for pollen. I started some sunflower seeds up on my back porch to try because the birds kept eating the seeds. So they're doing really well. They're actually standing up straight. They were looking pretty rough. I planted them about a week ago. And then I planted some more zinnias. I wanted to try a late season zinnia, and I see I have some germination. So that was, again, maybe a week ago. So that is encouraging and exciting. So this bed here and this bed had the most damage from the flood. So what I did, I had a lot of plants laying on their sides, broken, battered, and so I went ahead and cleaned it up and cleaned it out. It does kind of look bare, but I kind of like it. I wanted the cottage look where it was very messy, but this kind of feels good to my soul right now because it kind of feels chaotic. But let's talk about it. So I have the ornamental corn, which I did in a semicircle. This is the corn that is multicolored. You can use it for decoration, but not really eating. And I didn't realize that it was going to get, 10, 15 feet tall. So I put it in the front thinking it would be cute. And then in the back, I would put our yellow and white corn. So yeah. Anyway, it's doing okay. We have a lot of ears of corn that are ready. So I'm going to start harvesting some of those. The goldfinches love the seed heads of the corn. And that's been really fun to watch. And then look at this Mexican sunflower. Y'all, if you have not met the Mexican sunflower and grown it in your life, you need to. You absolutely need to. I'll give you a little bit more of a highlight in just a minute. So coming around, I have these 3 tomatoes in front, and let me show you a video of a tomato I pulled off of this plant right here. You're not going to believe it. This might be the biggest tomato I've ever grown in my entire life. It is massive. Oh my God. Finley. I have never in my life. I really think it's the Brandywine. I've never grown it before, and I think that must be what it is. So I did have tags in here, and the flood washed them away, so I have no idea. I have some oregano, some basil, feverfew that, as you can see, is kind of laying down. Some status back here that is regenerated. A little bit more basil in the back. And then I wanted to show you this. So this is anise hyssop, and I may be saying that wrong, but I just think it is so pretty. So in my garden, this is my most underrated plant of the year. I have it blooming in the front yard, and I didn't realize how gorgeous it was. So next year, this is on my list to plant a lot of. So you can see the little flowers. It's a very late bloomer. So, but very, very pretty. Then, this is a first time for me. I'm growing okra. I don't eat okra, but my daughter does. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it for her. Nobody told me how beautiful the okra flowers are. They're really, really pretty. I guess they close up at night, but we have an okra ready, I think. Not sure. I need to figure that out. And then I've got tomatoes ready. So in here I have some peppers, some lavender. Here's really my only lavender in here. And then that is narrow leaf milkweed. That survived. More tomatoes. And then this plant right here, I want to share with you about this plant. So this is called, can you see it? I don't know. This is called a forget-me-not. And it is probably my most favorite of the year, my most surprising of the year. I went back and looked, and I winter sowed this, and I did not feel like the plants looked so healthy. They have bloomed literally a 20-cent American seed pack with just a few seeds, have produced and produced. I mean, bloomed and bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. And I feel like if I deadhead them, which I have over, I'll show you, it caused it to start blooming again, which is what normally happens. So highly recommend forget-me-nots grown from seed in the winter sowing method. Remember, I didn't direct sow anything but the zinnias in this garden. Here we have the biggest surprise for me in marigolds. Didn't love marigolds until this year. My mom always loved them. As I was growing up, we always planted them, and I just thought they were like underwhelming. These are, so they're tied with the forget-me-nots as my favorite flower, and I can't even believe it because of 2023. They are so beautiful, and they bloom all over themselves. The only thing you need to know is you need to stake them. These are staked up by nature in this trellis. So absolutely, this is a mission marigold, huge blooms nonstop, beautiful plant. 10 out of 10 recommend it. So here is the love of my life, my favorite plant in the garden, my favorite flower in the garden, which I started last year. This is called Tithonia, the Mexican sunflower. I started these from seed, the American Seeds 50-cent seed pack, and blown away. Again, I'm blown away. So what makes this plant so special? Well, this is one plant right here. One. This is one. And this is one. So right here, I have 3 plants. They get about 10 to 15 feet tall. The flowers are spectacular. They're very showy from a distance, which I love. At any given time, you can find butterflies, bees, hummingbirds, and birds. The birds absolutely love to come and eat the seeds. They eat the seeds out, and so I feel like it is doing so much for the animal lover in me and giving back to nature, and that I love so much. I love it so much. So I really, really hope that, you guys will try this plant out. I can't say enough about it. And super easy. You don't do anything. I do have, let me show you before I move on. I do have tomato cages on them because I noticed last year they got a little floppy. So early on, I went ahead and put tomato cages on every single one of them, and that was a really good idea. So I do recommend staking them in some way just because they're huge. So I have a sunflower that actually grew from the seeds that I planted, which is really exciting because I didn't think that was going to happen. And then in this bed, this is a really messy bed. It had the worst part of the flood come through. The flood stopped about well, it didn't stop, but it got really deep in this bed, and it was just rushing. So the fence slowed it down just a little bit, but there was a lot of plants that were damaged in here and moved around. So I need to get in here and really work on weeding it out. But right now, it is great. It's got a lot going on. So in the back, we have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. These are raspberries, and they are a peach colored raspberry that taste almost like peaches, and they are phenomenal. I don't know what variety. I don't know where they came from. I did plant several varieties, but none of them were the peach ones, but they are prolific. So amazing experience with those. Wish I could tell you what kind they are so you could get some, but I can't. I have blackberries in here. So the birds are really having a feast. This was fully loaded yesterday. Then across the back, we have grapes. So muscadine and scuppernong grapes. I do have bouquet dill. I do need to cut that back. And then this is really cool. This is a tomato cage flipped upside down. It was a vine, a black-eyed Susan vine, that I wasn't expecting to do well. And it started climbing, and what an amazing aggressive vine. Y'all, if you want a vine that's going to show up and show out, black-eyed Susan vine is it. Super aggressive, not in a bad way. These are also a favorite of mine. This is the 4 o'clock. Here they are open, and then they close. So I am almost thinking they open overnight and stay open early in the morning, and then as the day gets started, they shut. I have tried my best to figure out the pattern of when they open. I can't figure it out. So this bed was also damaged pretty significantly. Lost a ton in here. I did have a pathway, so I got in here last weekend and really started working. And I wanted to show you, I cut back the forget-me-nots, and it started blooming again, so I'm going to do that everywhere. I've got a tomato here. These are the pink bumblebee. They are so cute. This one is ready to eat. Might be a little bit green. Look at this. And the flavor is absolutely amazing. It tastes so good. I just brushed my teeth, so I'm not going to eat it right this minute, but come back. I planted some zinnias, direct sowed them late. There were potatoes all throughout here, so we've started digging those up because they're ready. I have a massive cosmos. This is, I think, the Sensation blend, and then here is the bright lights. It started blooming now that I've given it some space. Again, we had the flood waters just kind of wreak havoc in here. In this bed, we have the bumblebee, little tiny tomatoes. We have our bee balm lambada, some dill, and then I've got a lot of herbs in here, oregano, sage, and then I do have some snapdragons and basil. There's the little snapdragons and basil. And then on my trellis, I have a moonflower vine, which is the light green, this one. Very aggressive and an amazing climber. Very, very, very good and very quick. So it's very aggressive. And then I do have the purple hyacinth vine, and it's not filling in like I had wanted it to. I won't use this on a trellis again. The only other thing in here that, I haven't shared with you would be the calendula and celosia, and then some stock. This is not my favorite. I just feel like this is not a plant again. Over here, this is my forgotten bed. I laugh because I just kind of threw everything in here, and it's just been so surprisingly beautiful. Everything new that comes out. So this is Ami, and I cannot remember the name of this Ami. It's the purple one. And then this is the green mist, but it's so pretty and lacy. I didn't like it at first, but now that I'm seeing it kind of in a as it coming into its own. It's so pretty. Look at this ageratum. Isn't that pretty? More Ami. And then I do have some zinnias, some volunteer tomatoes, and snapdragons are coming back, some feverfew, black-eyed Susans, and then in here I have straw flowers. So straw flowers are really cool. I won't grow them again next year. If I do, they would be up against a fence because they get really tall and not cute. Then I have this. I was so excited to grow. Can you see the name of that? The Crazy Daisy. That is me. My signature flower, I've decided, Crazy Daisy. So here are my first ever daisies I've ever grown in my entire life. Never been able to grow them, and I have just a few, and I'm very proud. So more basil, but just look at that. Isn't that so pretty? And the way the light's hitting it in the morning. Isn't nature gorgeous? And then this, I don't even really want to share with you this bed. So this was lemon balm. It split. It needs to be cut back. I've done a very poor job, and I swore this side was going to be spectacular this year, and it is not. So there's no time like the present. This is my first challenge. I'm going to get this looking pretty, at least for the fall, and I'm going to give you one more overview of my garden. Look at that. Look at that. The corn, the beautiful flowers. So pretty. What did you think? Did you like that? I hope I didn't go too fast or was too shaky. I was running, trying to get through here really fast so that I could show you this before the sun came out. It's just such a pretty time of year. I have a lot of work to do, but I still feel like I can find so much beauty in even the weeds. They do need to go, and I do need to deadhead. I realize that, but I'm excited to share with you what I never knew was possible, and my challenge to myself to start everything in this garden from seed and to not break the bank this year trying to buy all the flowers that I normally would, or the vegetables. You know, vegetables are very expensive now at the nursery or at the box stores. They're really, really expensive. And so if you have the patience growing them from seed, I highly recommend. It is a very rewarding process. It is time consuming unless you winter sow. And I want to share with you all about that because it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So thank you so much for watching and coming on this tour. I hope you have a chance to go out, get your hands dirty, and that you are inspired to try starting something from seed. The Dollar Tree has seeds. I want to encourage you to take a chance, even if it is just one container, a little patch of soil. Zinnias, easiest thing. This is where I got my start. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. And it's amazing the things you learn when you try something new. And so if I can be a resource for you as a first-time flower grower, last year, I mean, I've grown stuff. I've been in this industry, feels like what is my entire life, and been planting since I was 4 with my mom. But flowers were something I had never done. So if I can be a resource for you and an encourager for you to try it, let me be that for you. Please feel free to reach out and let me know if I can help you. And I hope you have a great, fantastic, cool, because it's hot, day. And I will see you in another video soon. Take care.